Welcome to the happenings where things happen, whether we
or,
like them,
or not.
and we're going to leave it there. My name is Jessica. I'm a photographer and I also write scripts.
My name is Whitley, and I am also a writer.
She's a really good one. Let me tell you,
Oh,
she's taught me everything I will never know. Before we get started, one of the favorite things that I love to do is also to, have a little fun in this. So I thought we would try a little would you rather. So, Whitley, are you ready for your question?
I'm ready for my question.
Let's see what we have. You landed on powers. So here you go. Would you rather be would you rather be a supervillain called the Mime or
Mhm.
a supervillain called the Doorman?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go mime because doorman sounds more stationary and it would be really hard for me to stand still.
You
So
might have
I'm
some
gonna go
incredible arm
with
muscles.
Yeah,
The
I'm
Mime.
gonna have to go with mime. I mean,
Okay.
mime can talk with their hands and
Well, they can talk with everything. They're a
yeah,
very big
yeah, yeah, yeah,
communicator.
yeah, yeah,
True.
yeah.
Yeah, the doorman would might require you to wear a suit and be by a swinging obstacle. So maybe not the best thing.
Exactly. And that may not be safe for anyone involved. So I will be
Exactly.
the mime. I'll
All
be the
right,
mime.
my turn. Let me spin the wheel of shame. I am
Okay.
fantasy. What is the fantasy? This one looks like a book that's opened.
Okay.
Hmm.
Share a dorm room with Spock or Kirk.
Okay, hold on. So, would I rather share a dorm room with Spock or Kirk?
Yes.
They're dudes. I don't want to
Yes.
share a room with any dude. I'm, I'm already sharing a room with Kirk and Spock. He likes sci-fi and he thinks he knows it all. Um, maybe Kirk
Okay.
because Spock is so intellectual. He would
Uh-huh.
talk to me more robotically and he wouldn't really care about, he wouldn't read the room. Where Kirk is
Right.
continually trying to allure me. And I'm good with being allured.
Lured.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, today we are going to be talking about Miss Whitley. And I thought it would be kind of good because we haven't really covered all of what you do and we're not going to really be covering every single thing that you do, but I thought it would be good to kind of highlight some interesting things about writers. Being a layman myself in writing, I do not have the same education or expertise that Whitley has, but Whitley, could you share with me um, how you even got into writing? Because I don't remember exactly what this is one of those things I know, but it's been a while since we talked about it. So how did you get into writing?
Oh, you definitely know. My
Uh-huh.
I ha my daughter, one of my middle daughter, when she
Hmm.
was younger, she went into acting and she wanted to get into film and do all of that.
Yeah.
So when she was a teenager, we started a production company and we did a whole bunch of shorts and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
When she got into college, the goal was we were going to try to do our first feature by the time she graduated.
Oh, wow.
However, she did not have,
Hmm.
being in college, she did
Right.
not have time to write a script. And I went out trying to find one as the producer,
Hmm.
and we could not find anything that we liked. So my daughter is a great writer and she had some very creative scripts, but she didn't have the time. And so we decided I was going to try my hand at it. It was the first time I ever wrote anything. And so I started writing when she was in college. Then there was a tragedy, and we ended up not doing that, producing that film or
Okay.
looking into it. And but I was intrigued because I found out I really did enjoy it. So that was right after that was when I started taking classes and really getting serious about it and getting into it. So we never progressed with our production company, but I did start from that point. And
Very cool.
yeah, she gets out of college and I start learning. So
Well, I
Anyway,
mean, that's
changing.
kind of how
So
it.
my daughter was the change in my profession.
Okay, so the next question I have, and this will be a multiple, not a multiple choice, but probably a multiple answered question, would be, are there tips that you would give someone like myself
Mhm.
who is not researched on the beginning of writing? Like, let's say I just want to get started, and what are some things maybe I need to look out for when I begin the process?
First off, it depends on what kind of writing you want to do because
Okay.
every type of writing is totally different. I have written scripts, I have written novels, and I have
Mhm.
written podcasts. Every single one of them is totally different and has a totally different focus. Um, so you want to in script, it is all visual. In novel, it's the words. People want the words to speak to them, and
Mhm.
language and set and that sort of thing is extremely important. You never want to write the same adjective twice in a novel. I mean, it just people pick up on that. With a podcast, it's all auditory. So
Oh,
everything you want to do, you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to read it. You're going to be listening, and so it takes a whole different type of work and thought behind what you're doing before you even start writing. So you need to know what form you want to write in before you ever get started and think about anything. Uh,
true.
Most of the time that someone who writes will say come to me about what do I need to do to write a script. They're novel writers, so I will be at some kind of novel writing things, and they'll find out I'm a script writer, and they'll come up to me and say, how do I write my book into a script?
Hmm.
And I go, what's your point and purpose? And they'll go, well, I think it'll make a good movie. And I will tell them, then go market your book, because it is such a different art form and it takes years. I can immediately read tell when someone is trying to take their novel and turn it into a script, because I can get past I don't even get past first paragraph before I know, and I toss it. I have worked as a reader for a producer. That means I read the scripts and point out which ones are good, and those are immediately going to get tossed. Um, so, what a producer is looking for a book is how many copies you sold, because they're not looking for your story. There are tons of great screenwriters out there. There's tons of different stories. They don't need your story. What they need is your fan base. And that's what they're looking at.
Oh, wow. Yeah, true. Though, I will tell you, I don't actually agree with them on this. And I will tell you why.
Yes.
Because we're going to do another podcast, just so you know, and you're just finding out this now because that's how this works, because it's happening. But we're
Okay.
going to have to review some really incredibly terrible Hallmarks, which I
Oh my
like to
God.
watch.
Yes.
Yeah. And my thing is, it's kind of like a show I watched where, of course, that's what they're going after, is that influenced fan base. But
Yes.
it should matter. I think the quality of the story should matter. I cringe at some of the tropes. And if we want to know, could you explain a trope? I just used a big word.
But are you talking about genre?
No, I mean like man in plaid shirt rescues cat from tree trope, or sick
Oh,
grandmother and
okay.
gonna leave the farm trope. So it's kind of
Oh,
like a
okay.
story, like,
Okay.
yeah.
It's there's a lot of different formulas depending on which genre that you're writing in or doing. It's like a
Mhm.
rom-com has a totally different structure than a
Yes.
thriller. And
Yes.
you have
Yes.
to know it. You have to know. It's one of those things when you've been screenwriting for a while and you've been writing scripts, you go to the movies, you know what's going to happen before it happens.
Right.
There are very few times when anyone is shocked. It's like I can just about read a book and pick, it may not be exactly the right ending or the next thing that's going to happen, but I'm in the ballpark. And it's very, very rare. If there's something that shocks a writer of any genre of any form,
Right.
you'll hear about it because they'll go, "Oh my God, I didn't see it coming," and
Yeah.
so you're just really shocked, and that's one of the things that you do try to do, or most writers will. That's a big joy for no one to be able to see it coming
Well,
that
let
understands the
me
structure.
let me ask your opinion though on that. Where do
Uh-huh.
you stand on fan base versus story?
Um, as a fan, I like when my books are made into a movie. However, as a fan of the book, I am upset when the film does not follow or they change things of that. And the
Yes.
reason being is, and a lot of novelists do not understand this, and this is really, really hard for them. In fact, after I've talked to them, a lot of novelists have decided I do not want my book made into a film because a film is a group project, and you know this as an actor. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you not one person and is important. It is the entire team that works together, and anything can be changed in a moment. In fact, a lot of the most famous scenes and a lot of people's favorite moments happens spontaneously on set. Are they
Yes.
changed? Or an actor goes, I think this would be a better line, or I see my character more as this, and it ends up being rewritten. When a novelist is used to having more control of their work. They do have to work with an editor, but uh, they have a little bit more say. And
Yeah, I was gonna say.
but a screenwriter, we have no say. Once a producer takes over our project, uh, if it's a spec script and they take it over, they normally have their own writers that
Hmm.
will rework it, rewrite it the way the producer wants it. And so if
Okay.
there's a lot of actors, producers, etc., who are not fans of the book and they really do not want to read the book or anything else about it, they just they want their vision to come to the screen. And so, yes, your book is the basis for the story, but you're getting the directors, the producers, somebody else's vision that's coming to the screen. And it could be several different people's. One of my favorite books, they made a movie about a couple of years ago, and I was very
Hmm.
excited to see it. And they changed the end of the story.
Oh
And
no.
it was the one of the main characters dies at the end of the story, which was very tragic, but it was also made a whole lot of sense. Um, but when they did the movie, he lived, and
Yeah.
it just lost its power. And if you were a fan of the book, you were expecting him to die. But
Mm.
uh, I think it's because it was very sad and they wanted to have a happy ending. But sometimes a sad ending is exactly what you need for something. Um,
100%. No, I mean it's what, I there's somewhere in time, there's these moments that happen and they just break your heart. You
uh-huh.
kind of sometimes need to have like I like happy endings for sure.
Yes.
I have a sick hate of Hallmark movies for that. But I also like moments where your heart breaks because what I think it shows you is how much you
Hmm.
feel and how much you
Right.
got moved by something and you're just kind of cheated. I have another one for you. Uh, excuse me, getting over a cold. It's one of those things. Um, and I hate saying why am I saying that all the time? Anyway, do you feel anyone can write about anything? Like, for example, let's say I
Mhm.
want to write a hospital book,
Uh-huh.
but I've never worked in a hospital. I've just watched, Grey's Anatomy online. Do you feel like I can get away with writing like this, book about anatomy and hospital moments? What is
uh,
your feeling on that?
Very negative. It's there's a saying, write what you know. Okay. And
Okay.
there's two kind of knows. There's your own personal knowledge and what we talked about, you call tropes, what I call structure is very important because
Yes.
every different type of work has a different structure, and you need to know and understand that structure. If you're
Hmm.
going to write a hospital, is it going to be a drama? Is it going to be a horror? Is it going to be a thriller? I mean, you've got to decide what your genre is. And after you know your genre, if you've never written anything in that genre before, you had better become an expert in that genre.
Right.
And and more important than just being an expert in the genre, you need to be an expert in the field, or you need to research the field. It could very well be that you know nothing about law enforcement, okay? And you decide that you're going to write an episodic, or you're going to write a movie or anything that's going to involve law enforcement. Well,
Hmm.
you had better do your research, and you also need to have a SME, or a subject matter expert, in order to go to that person and fill in. I mean, and usually subject matter experts will also show you where you can fudge a little bit and where you don't need to fudge. Uh, it is,
Hmm.
I'm doing the umming too. It is um, very boy, now I pointed it out,
I
now I'm
know
really doing it.
it gets to being addictive. You don't think you'll do it until you catch yourself.
So,
But
uh,
no,
yeah,
I
right.
find that very interesting that you're going to say that because my husband's in law enforcement,
Hmm.
and I can't tell you how many shows we've watched or movies we've gone to, and he's literally rolling his eyes because what we're seeing in the movie or the
Uh-huh.
show is not something that is reality, which I'm wondering like how they get away with that. Even the military. My husband also
Those
was
are
military.
that's one of the ones that
Okay.
really, really
And we're going to cover some because I have several military hallmarks that we need to review. And I thought it would be fun for us to do this. But when you see, like, for Hollywood, their idea of
Mhm.
military is camouflage and a few hand salutes with
Oh, and
vehicles in the
so
background. And that's about it. Oh, and they did get the hair for women up in a bun. They do have that. But they really get the whole thing wrong. And coming from a
yes.
military background, it's almost insulting to see
Yes.
us dumbed down like we're supposed to be America's fighting force, and there's a confusion on these seven vehicles that are parked out front of a National Guard unit. Like, why? Why is
But
there a
right.
Humvee? Why is there a water
What?
buffalo? Why is there,
Yes.
you know, and and I realize
Exactly.
they're like saying, say I'm a military movie without saying I'm a military movie. I got one further. Say you suck at military movies without saying you do. Let me show you. So, what is your vibe when you see one that just kind of makes you cringe? I mean, how did they get away with this?
I don't know, but I will tell you, since
Ah,
we're talking about military right now,
yeah.
the first one that came to my mind was Army Wives, which was extremely popular.
Yes.
And I forced myself, because someone asked me about that series, I forced myself to watch the first season. I said, no more. I'm not going to give any more opinions about this show because it was so cringe. And not was it only cringe about it wasn't what
Hmm.
the military was like on
Hmm.
so many levels, both
Right.
spouse wise and soldier wise. But I came across, my husband was a commander at that time, and I came across too many women coming into the unit, new into the unit, who knew nothing about the military, and they were expecting their life to be like the
Army
Army
wives.
wives. And so it was very, very hurtful because it made it more difficult for them to adjust to the
And
lifestyle
adapt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we're a subculture. And that's what a lot of people do not understand is you need to understand the subculture. And once you do, everything's cool. But it is coming into a brand new culture. And it's kind of one of the reasons why they say that soldiers, uh, military brats usually end up becoming soldiers because it is a culture. But
Well,
yeah,
it's
it's
a
very that
camaraderie
is
as well.
yeah, exactly. It is it's very upsetting. I use there's several television shows that I used to watch and like until they did a military episode.
Yeah.
And then it was
Well,
like, I don't trust your writing anymore.
yeah, for us, it was definitely within the military police department
Oh,
areas. Just,
yes.
and that's the thing is, I really wish they would use what you call a SME, a subject matter expert,
Uh-huh.
to show, because it's such, like, Hollywood has movies. I mean, they have
Uh-huh.
money. They're they
Exactly.
have bases all over. There are many military people. Honor them.
And
Don't just put someone in camouflage and say, okay, that'll work.
and
No, it
there
doesn't work.
are there are agencies within every branch of the service. There is one
Mm.
located in Los Angeles where what they the producer can go to directly to the military and
Oh man.
request. In fact, a lot of these shows you will know they some of the bigger productions though usually they will go to a military base and film, and they get that permission because they go directly through the
Hmm.
military, and they have a subject matter expert, someone working with them with the script, someone
Right.
working with the other. Of course, it's really hard because it is mission um, mission comes first. So if something happens, production goes off. So uh,
Right.
it, it it's a mixed blessing, but there's no excuse for them to ever come up as far as a military movie is without getting it right.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so the last one that I have for you before we wrap for right now is, have we spoke about publishing at all? Like, I know
No.
that you had talked about at some point there were a few surprises you had when it came to publishing. So I wanted to know if you could just give us a couple, and then we'll come back and revisit the hells of publishing, because there's so many levels. Like, I mean, I'm not Catholic, but I'm just saying there's 7 levels of hell. Hell no. I mean, hell no fury, like a publisher scorned. Well, what can you tell me on the publishing side as far as being a writer that you've found to be interesting?
Well, they're actually in every form of writing, there is a form of publishing,
Hmm.
depending on what you're meaning. When publishing for film is production, and when
Right?
it's produced, publishing, of course, for books is going through a publisher or something, or self-publishing or whatever. And for a podcast, it again is going through a production company in order and dealing with the actors and that sort of thing. So um, they all have different approaches. It's hard to get into any one of them. It's one of the reasons so many
Mm.
people have gone to self-publishing. But what people don't realize with self-publishing, doing self-publishing, I have never self-published, but I do know that a lot of people are really shocked. One of the first things you need to know about any kind is
Hmm.
a publishing. However you go,
Hmm.
you are going to have to market yourself, whether you're marketing yourself to a producer or you're marketing yourself to your audience. You will
Got
have
it.
to market yourself. And that is a key thing that a lot of people, they will work on their craft and forget that they've got to market themselves too.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Whitley, for the You did so good. I don't know if I'm going to do like, you seem so professional. You're such a writer. No, thank you so much for joining us today on the happenings. And here we are. We're learning so much about writing and some of the things that you as a writer wouldn't even know you're going to hit. And Whitley, you've hit every single rock, every wall.
Okay.
I mean, rock and rolled all the way through. So yeah, we're all in this together, but I think this is it's a good eye opener, is what I'm trying to say. A good eye opener to what to
Right.
expect. But anyway, I hope all of you have a wonderful day and feel free to comment down below. And are there some good resource links that you would like to put in our source content catalog below, Whitley, so that writers can have an idea of where you're getting some of your information?
If I think of something, I will give it
You'll
to
put
you
it
to
there?
put. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right
Perfect.
now, off the.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, feel free to comment, subscribe to like, and also, let us know what subject you would like to know about on the happenings, because I believe we can cover stuff. But anyway, have a wonderful
We
day.
have the world experience. Okay.
That's right. That's right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.